Welcome to another edition of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. This show was originally created from one of the more than 300 motivational quotes I had self-created for the contents of my books. After studying 40 years of human behavior, I was always curious how one quote landed on one person to another. Were they just words that laid there on a page, or were there a conversation to be had? So this quote started off. So this show started off with just me and Naheem having a conversation. I realized this show was much bigger than me. Based on perception and interpretation, we want to throw out a quote to our groups and basically get their feedback. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We toss out a quote brought to us by one of our hosts. It is either going to be Larnez Kinsey, Denise Lopes, Nicola DeMarco, or even, coming from the motherland, Lois Campbell, all the way from Jamaica. We hear that sweet sound or whatever. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show today. We have a great quote. It's going to make you think. So let me sit back, buckle my seat, put my foot on the brake just for a little bit while I ride on the gas at the same time. And we're going to see what Nicola has brought for us today. Nicola, if you don't mind, you want to share the quote with us today?
Yes, thank you, Kevin, and good morning, everyone. This quote is from Alice Walker, of course, the writer of the Color Purple novel, by which the film is based upon, and the play, the drama. So her quote that I'm sharing with you today is as such. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any.
All right. The most common way that people give up their power is they think they don't have that. So how does this quote land on you, Nicola?
Well, I use it in my signature, under my signature in my email, because it really resonates in terms of my philosophy of life and approach to things. And I believe that whatever persuasion you are, whatever background or cause you may have, if you believe you don't have any power, then you're falling under a delusion. And really, most people have a lot more power than they know of. I'll give you an example. If someone decides to get on a bus or call their elected official, and can you hear me all well, by the way? Okay.
No.
Uh, can you hear me better now, Lois? Is that
Yeah,
better?
I can hear you. Lois, turn up your volume.
Okay. So the example I was giving was meeting with an elected official in government, whether it's local or state or federal. Many people don't realize the weight it has to call that person, write that person, attend one of their events and ask them a question, raise your hand at a meeting, attend a meeting, even going to their office and sitting with them or their staff. It has a very, very big impact and disproportionate to the amount of resources they have. Many of these electeds are sitting on uh, millions of dollars of discretionary funds and funds that are not discretionary, that they're not using to meet the needs of people in their communities all the time. So that's one example, meeting with people who have resources, elected officials in particular. And that's the way it impacts me.
All right. It's amazing how many times, and we probably do it in our own personal lives. We we're part of a conversation or a presentation, and someone says, "Do you have any questions?" And the room is silent. And as soon as everything is adjourned or whatever, uh, if I had to do this all over again, I would say this and I would say that and just tell that person all this and whatever the case may be and whatever. He is so lucky I didn't say anything or whatever. How many times have we ever done that? And believe it or not, I always say that, the quietest person in the room is the most dangerous person because it's not exactly what is said, but how they act long after we have said whatever we said. Because, the only way to educate a person is participate in a conversation and to listen to a conversation and make a decision from having an educated conversation. And we have no idea how much power we have in our voice. I mean, if I go back to the 60s and whatever and look at that, one of the most famous speeches that we've ever heard is I Had a Dream. What would have happened if that voice had been silent? That's a question only you can answer. So with that said, I'm going to ask Larnez to go ahead. And this is the first time we've ever had um, the voice be a female voice. And I'm going to tell you, I had this. I heard Simon Sinek say this the other day. So I'm going to paraphrase his quote. But he said he wishes that more women ran corporations than men, is because that's where the real power is at.
Okay.
All
Grand
right.
Rise.
So go ahead, Miss Larnez, and give us the quote today.
Okay. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any, by Alice Walker.
All right, Lois Campbell. How does Alice Walker's quote land on you today?
Grand Rising, everyone. Thank you, Nicola, for bringing the code. Three things comes to mind when I, excuse me, sorry, when I read this code. And one is fear. Another one is lack of confidence. And the third one is lack of knowledge, ignorance. So you know what to say, but fear holds you back from saying it. And that connotes with lack of self-confidence and being under slavery and colonization, segregation. A lot of us don't read, or they say if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book, because we don't read. So not knowing or know, excuse me, and not sharing really can decrease your voice. Thank you.
All right, short and sweet. You're replacing Gilda today. All right. Hey, you know something? I'm an author. I every time I hear that quote, when someone says, if you want to keep a secret, not just from a Black person, it used to be from a Black person. And that's when our grandfathers and everyone else used to speak to us. But the generation we have today, no one reads anymore. We used to have several publishing houses all over the world and opportunities for authors, but there are so many great books that are written by everyday people that stories will never get told. So the best way to keep a secret from anyone is to put it in a book, if I can rephrase that. Because we don't read, we gossip. We watch the news, whatever source you get your news from. We have variations of what we see to be the truth. Said it last week. Tell a big enough lie to the right people and have the right people believe it. Sooner or later, it becomes the truth. Have no idea when I pull it up into my driveway, even though we have, a homeowners association said that we're not supposed to have signs in there. And then my next door neighbor has a sign that said, believe it or not, I'm still a T girl. I'm not even going to bring up his name. And I said, that's not the way I want to come home every single day. But, freedom of speech, let them be what they be. I've always said, I'd rather know who you are than be surprised to find out who you are. We know that to be true, isn't it right, Denise? All right. That's our education system. Always a surprise, always a surprise. So, with that said, listeners, we're not talking politics, we're talking about life. The truth in this is the most common way for people to give up their power is to give up their voice or to be heard and thinking that you have nothing to say. Denise is one of our educators that shows up on the show. Denise, how does this quote land on you, Miss Denise Lopes?
Okay, good morning. Grand Rising. I have to learn how to say that. Grand Rising. Good morning. Uh, for me, I'm gonna go piggyback at what Louise said, the ignorance, like lack of education. For me as an educator, I see in the parents, most of my parents don't speak English and they're afraid to speak. And a lot of them, they're afraid like their citizenship or their green card are going to be taken away if they speak up for the kids. And for me, that's lack of education. I wish we had people like to really talk to them. Like we have the liaison and people, they have the pack that they talk to. but there's more like education because your voice has power no matter what. And if it's your children, like the parents, they have a lot of power and they don't know it. Um, and that's what the school system try to shut them down and don't let them know that, yeah, you have power. Whatever you say for your kid is going to go. And because you have the last saying. So for me, when I advocate for my kids, I try to talk to the parents, try to educate them about the stuff that's going on, and a lot of them appreciate it. And they call me, and for me, it's like lack of education. That's how it landed on me. When you know better, you do better. Um, like my angel said. So I think we should be educating our parents. We should have like meetings, more meetings with them. We should have like advocates that do that, that basically educating the parents what's good for your kid, how you should go talk to the principal, go talk to the teacher, go talk to the superintendent, go to the committee meetings, because the school committee meetings, you have a voice. And that's my hope that every parent knows that they have the power to change how their kids are educated.
Right. And believe it or not, even as a child, you have power. You know what they say, out of the mouth of babes. I think sometimes we need to listen to those babes, all right, because they have power. So, Larnez, one more time for the quote. We've got a short staff here today to share. I mean, for some, this show today is most men's nightmare. Two men against seven women. You know, you count three, but they're all multiplied because they are the gift. All right. But Nicole and I, we're the type of brothers that when we're amongst queens, we understand the position of a king. We're there to protect, uplift, to carry your luggage to and from one port to one plane, to go ahead and allow people to hear your story and to let you take center stage without any interruption. That's what a real king does to a queen. All right. So, Denise, I thank you for allowing us to share that. Nicola, thanks for being part of this dream. All right. So, you know, Larnez, if you don't mind, one more time so I can have a clear head on how my take is. Following you guys is hard. I'm going to tell you, it is hard. One more time, Larnez.
The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any, by Alice Walker.
Alice Walker, thank you. And thank you for creating the color purple. And so this quote makes me think to address every single day. And you have to realize in order to be the change, you have to be the example of the change that you want to see. All right. We're all part-time dreamers. Let's be real. We look up every day and we set goals, looking for more and providing less, wishing for what's possible. But in real life, we do a slow dance with the impossible. Life is about two things: chance and choice, and the actions that follow. Today is the only day where change can really thrive. This very moment is where you shape your destiny. We search for internal forces to guide us, to get us through the day, but we fall and look on the inside gifts and look away from the inside gifts that we have. Each day that we breathe, we get a second chance to get this life right. Life is a moment and life happens in seconds. Right now, we all have a gift. We all have the power in our voice to celebrate who you are. Every word today spoken by each one of us today is a testament of your gift, your power. Your share today may inspire someone to enjoy their life because your words can take them from where they want to be to where they need to be. I say count your blessings. You get a second chance at this life. Don't make God regret giving you that second chance. You may think that you always have another day. You may think, I wish I could have said something, it would have made a difference. And you wish you had stood for something and instead allowing so many things to stand on you. Don't ever give up the freedom or the power of your voice. If you want something to be different, then speak up. I say speak up. Beauty is in this moment. Love is appreciating your gift. And so with that said, that's how this quote landed on me. Oh, Lord, Linez, thank you, everyone, for this is a short version of the show. Normally,
You
we're here
forgot
all
about
day.
me.
Did you forget about Larnez?
Wait a minute, you're exactly right. You know something? I got so intimidated by so many beautiful women here. I did forget about it. And this is the nice thing about having this show. All right. There's no mistakes. Everyone's original. And thank God I said my piece before you did learn this because I hate following you. So we're gonna do a quick reset. We're not gonna end this show. Larnez, how does this quote land on you?
Well, Alice Walker knew exactly what she was talking about when she said the most common way people give up their power is thinking they don't have any. The moment you start believing you're powerless, you've already lost. And that's exactly how society wants to keep you, doubting yourself, forgetting how valuable you truly are. But let me tell you, you are valuable. Your experiences, your voice, your energy, they all have weight, they all have meaning. Self actualization is the real key. It's about recognizing who you are, what you bring to the table, and what you're capable of. It's about understanding your thoughts, your actions, and even your existence has a ripple effect. When you start to see yourself as someone with worth, that's when you begin to tap into your power. It's easy to think that people only belong that, sorry, it's easy to think that people who have the power have the money, the status, or the platform. But the truth is, power is in every single one of us. It's your ability to change the mood when you enter in a room with your presence, to uplift someone with your words, or to stand firm in your beliefs. It's in your decision to show up for yourself every day, despite what the world is telling you. So, the challenge here is to remember how valuable you are. Don't let anyone make you forget that. The more you lean into your truth, the more you realize that your power is limitless. And once you reach the level of self actualization, once you truly understand who you are and what you're worth, you stop letting the world or anyone else dictate your potential. When you know your value, you don't walk in power, you become it. That's the kind of energy that can never be taken away. And that's how this hit me.
Wait a minute, did you hear the mic drop? Boop. All right. All right. Like I said, I never want to follow Larnez, and it was meant to be. All right. You talk about the powers, you talk about the power and this voice. I cannot wait to sit in the audience and have and watch you take center stage to deliver your message on change life and all the wonderful things you guys are doing over there. I mean, I don't want to reveal company secrets, whatever, but I'm going to tell you, this is a person you need to watch out for. I'm going to tell you, every single person on this platform, one day is going to be on stage. And I'm going to say, just buckle up because the world's not ready for all of this. There's a train a coming. There's a train, and it's coming in the daytime. Gladys Knight, midnight train is all right, but this is showing up in the daytime. We're going from the shadow into the light, and that's where change happens. And that's the reason why your voice is so powerful. I hope that everyone that's listening to this podcast, I'm going to ask you to share, like, and comment, but I want you to take a couple seconds and reflect on the conversation that you just had today and ask yourself, are you using your power, or have you allowed a system to silence your voice and it exists in this world, and not taking for granted the gift that God gave you this morning to give you a second chance to get your life right, to make life right for someone else. All right. Because the power is not with the 1%. The power is with your next door neighbor, the person across the street. Believe it or not, that's the power. There is no tree that is not resting, no matter how big, how strong, how many branches, how green it is not being held up by Mother Earth. It all starts right here from Mother Earth. So with that said, I'll say to you, to grow, you got to make some mistakes. To be confident, you have to address your anxieties. To forgive, you got to hold you accountable. To learn, you must unlearn some stuff, as Miss Alice Walker said in The Color of Purple. And to exist, you have to show up more. You have to speak up and be part of the conversation you have in your actions. Life is about chance and choices and the actions that follow. If you do not exercise your voice, you have no right to sit there and go into the back rooms and complain about what's going wrong in your life. So I'm going to say vote, participate, go to your local congressman or congresswoman, or however they identify themselves, and say, look, let's get rid of the labels and let's just have a real conversation. All right. We don't need to be politically correct. We need to be honest with each other and be open to accepting the truth. Open your eyes. Quit being so offended by things that when people are not trying to offend you. Coretta Scott King said it before. She said, just tell them the truth and let them decide thereafter. All right. So with that said, with great appreciation, I admire each and every last person on this show that has been here today, that have been here in the past, that are going to be here in the future. I am internally grateful. And I'm grateful to our listeners for showing up every single week and making this show all possible. So we meet here every Sunday at 9 a.m. If you like what you've heard, go to our YouTube page, RMK Productions and Network, and you can join the group if you want to be a guest. The link is there. I always say bring something positive. We don't do drama here. And, I'll bring up the guy that showed up using the bathroom while he wanted to do the show. You just made yourself unforgettable. And that's the reason why we go to the circus to watch clowns. So, you know who you are. But again, I always want to end up on a positive note. My grandfather said always, when you get to a place in life that you can help someone else out, he said it's your duty to do so. And he's on mic. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, we what?
Fade to black.
And again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week, and we're out.
Thank you.